Hey guys, it's Eric here at Farpoint Mowers and More. Check it out, Pittsburgh Mini Tire Changer, brand new. Picked this up at the flea market, never used. Don't know why it was never used, but straps are still on it. Anyway, it's about to get used. We're gonna get this thing unboxed. I'll get the camera in closer. We'll take a look at what comes with this. And I think these are called Maddox now, but they're identical. They're just spray painted black. So let's take a look. All right, here we are. Take the foam out of here. All right, so I'm just gonna lay all this out and we'll take a look at it once it's on the bench. And if you've never used one of these before, don't feel bad. I will show you how easy it is to use it. All right, let's show you what we got. First thing we have here is our base plate. That sits there. Now there's holes here. You can drill this thing down to the table. You could also drill it into the floor, which is certainly the better option, really. You can also attach it to something heavy and just have the base sitting outside, where you can unhook this relatively easily. There's our stand. And I'll show you the pins that we have here. All right. So we'll lift that up, slide the pin through there. That sits in there. So now we have our other half here. Now, nice rubber piece here. That's where our rim is going to sit down in. Then we have this piece. This piece slides down over the rim. And then we have spacers. And then we have this top piece which threads in to lock everything in place, because you don't want that tire to spin. So we're going to lock that in nice and tight. One thing I will say about this that's not included in this and is absolutely critical when doing a job with this tire is lube. You want to use soapy water or something along those lines. You don't want to use an oil-based lubricant, because that can damage, you know, the tire, the actual rubber in the tire. We don't want that. But this will definitely help you getting everything on and off when you have one of these machines. So before we grab the tire, let me go ahead and show you how I'm going to set this up. And that is by using a vise. I'm going to go ahead and take out my soft blocks here. You insert this into the vise and squish it down real good. Bearing in mind that sometimes this will still move. There's no guarantees that that this won't teeter-totter, but it's sitting pretty flush. If you look at it, bring it around here, it's pretty much designed for what we're doing here. Let me zoom in on that. You can see it sits on the base perfectly and sits flush with that. So that'll give you a pretty good significant location. If you don't have a vise, yeah, you're probably going to want to mount it to a bench or to the ground using that. Some people will use like an old brake rotor and weld it to the brake rotor. We've done that. So there's different ways of getting that thing secure, but you definitely don't want to try to do it while it's not bolted to something. It'll just fly all over the place. All right, let's get a tire off. All right, as you can see, this tire is toast. It is broken on both beads. It is dangling. It is smashed. It is also very dirty from being dragged around to get it up onto the trailer. We're going to clean it before we attempt any repairs on it, but I did want to show you that. So in order to get this off, if you haven't seen my other video on this, you take a pair of needle nose pliers and carefully, hopefully without damaging it, you want to pull the cover off. That is our goal, and we've achieved our goal here. Then this has the C-clamp. We're taking a flat blade screwdriver, prying up on that, and there's our C-clamp. If you lose that, Lowe's does sell these in 2 packs. Home Depot, I assume, does too. Then this model does have a washer on it. And that's it, my friends. We can slide this off. Ta-da. And there it is, covered in mud and gunk. And what I'm going to do with this off camera is I'm going to wash this up, and then we are going to take it over to the tire machine. All right, well, here we are over at the bench with our tire. I cleaned it up some, and I'm going to put it on there. Of course, this is already broken on both sides as far as the bead goes. So there's not a whole lot I can do there, but I will show you how that works. Sits down on there like that, and you're going to want to install this piece right here, which isn't really necessary on this particular unit, but it's still kind of nice to have that on there. And then this one, definitely going to use both spacers, and we're ready to screw on our top piece. What I'm going to do is get a big screwdriver and tighten that up a little bit more. So you just take that through the hole and you crank down on it real good. Because we don't want that rim to move once we start doing this. If it moves, you got problems. It's going to make it worse. Okay, so I'll show you just real quickly how to go about breaking the bead, even though this one's broken. And I have to move this up to a smaller position. Yeah, that's it right there. So you're going to be pushing against it, if you can see that, and I'll zoom the camera in so you can. But you're holding it right up against there, and then you're using the whole force to push down, and that's going to break that bead. And then you can use that to kind of finish the deed. All right, well, that's already done. And of course, to do the other side, you'd flip the tire over and do it again. But that part we don't need. What we do need is this part right here. What you're going to do here is you're taking your ball side right here and you're pushing it down into the rim. You're going to hook the tire rim. And I want to get it just right. There we go. Hook the tire rim around it like that. Let me get the camera closer in so you can see what I'm talking about here. Ball end just catching the lip, and then we want the other piece right like that. Okay? And then we're going to move this thing around in a circle until it comes loose. See how easy that was? If you're struggling with this, you're doing it wrong. Does that make sense? And I mean that. I'm not trying to be, a jerk about that. That's just the truth. If you're struggling, you're probably going to damage the tool, the tire, or both. And so we're going to go down in there. We're going to catch that bottom bead, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to rotate that around. And that, my friends, is how easy it is to take a tire off of one of these things. That's it. That was it. Did I break a sweat? Did I do anything? Did I put a lot of effort into that? No. And if you are, you're probably not doing it right. So make sure to double check yourself. Okay, all right, so I've got this off. I'm going to wipe this all the way out because it's got mud and grass and everything else. From the second that thing gets off the bead, we got problems, right? We're gonna have stuff leaking through. First, I wanna get trash out of there. I'm gonna do that off camera, but you're gonna get some rags and you're gonna wipe all that out. All right, after cleaning and inspecting the tire on this thing, I think it's okay. It is dry rotted some, but I think that with some pink slime or green slime, we should be able to get that to hold air. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave this out of it. But there is something I am going to do. Let me go ahead and pull this off, and I will show you what I will replace here while I have it apart, because a lot of times this is actually where your leak is. And that is this. This is the valve stem right here, valve stem. And so in order to replace that, this is relatively simple if you have them. Unfortunately, I have one that's slightly longer than this. It's going to stick out a little bit longer, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter that size-wise, that it actually make it easier to get to. But in order to get that off, you're going to take a pair of side cutters here, and you're going to trim away at the edge here until you can pull it out all the way out. So then you're left with a hole, right? Now with your new one, you're going to do this, unscrew the cap, and you're going to feed that through the hole. And then you're going to take that same pair of needle nose pliers, you're going to hold against it right there, grabbing, see that? I'm grabbing the threads, not the rubber, and you're going to rock back until she pops through. And that's all there is to it. It's not a big deal to replace those. And I mean, it's a little long, it's comically long, but it'll still work for my needs here. All right, so time to reassemble this, put it back on. And I will say I'm very impressed with the build quality of this little Harbor Freight tire changer. I have used these before, that's why it probably looks a little easier than your first time using one of these. But the important thing to remember is that if you are forcing it, you are doing it wrong, and you probably should stop. Okay, so we're ready to install this. This is where there's an important part here, and that is soap. Tire soap, right? So I just get some generic, I think this is Joy or something like that, soap, and I'm gonna get a little bit of a rag and I'm gonna wipe it around these surfaces. That'll help it get back on there. And I'm just gonna lube this up real good on both sides here. Okay, I'm also gonna lube the rim itself. Now, some lawnmower tires, some ride mower, tractor tires are directional. So you'll want to look, it'll either say inside, outside, or it'll just say have an arrow pointing in the direction you want it. These are what's called turf savers. These are not directional, but ag tires, lug tires, those are definitely are. Okay, usually with a little bit of this, you can get the top on there pretty easily. So you're just gonna kind of sit it at an angle and work it down. But just to show you how the other side of this works, you're gonna hold down and then rotate around. See that? Oops. This one's a little stiffer, but you're pushing down on it. There you go, until it hooks around. And so you're pushing while rotating, pushing while rotating. And it would be better if this had a little notch in it, and sometimes it's easier to use that side. It really depends on the tire, but that's all there is to it. All right, well, there we go. Now, if you're going to inflate this with a regular air compressor without a cheetah, you're gonna wanna remove the valve stem to get a little more airflow. You're gonna take a pair of not vice grips, tie straps, and you're gonna jack it around this thing and tighten it down. Really not the ideal way to go about doing this. A cheetah works so much better. The price of those have come down. I've got this Vavor one here. I'll make another video on it showing you how easy it is to do these with a cheetah, but I recommend that. There is also the flame method. I don't recommend that, it's dangerous, but a little bit of starter fluid or other flammable fluid, and I mean a little bit, drop a match into it, boom, the explosion causes the beads to seat, and then fill it up the rest of the way. That'll do it for today, my friends. I hope you enjoyed my review of the Harbor Freight tire changer. Really an easy and useful tool. If you see my video on how to do this manually, you will understand why this is worth the, well, I paid 15, but I think they go for 50 bucks, give or take, on their website now. So I'd say it's worth it for that. Take care.